In 1999, the internet was introduced to a website titled fastseduction.com. This is where the online pickup artist community was mostly cultivated. The website began to pick up around 2002. The chats were starting to be active, and the website was being used to find wingmen and create what they actually call layers. Members enjoyed giving themselves code names, and you're going to hear a couple as we continue, and they are pretty retarded. One of these young men was an aspiring magician who went under the moniker Mystery. But to Mommy and Daddy, he was still Eric Von Markovic. Layers are exactly what you'd think they would be, or exactly what they sound like. It's a location or a house in a city or a town where pickup artists can meet each other and they can wingman one another and help support one another. Now, who is Mystery? Well, Obi-Wan Mr. Roney, the Grand Douche Wizard himself. You might have seen this guy back around 2006, 2008. This is a time when his pedestal was at its most high. Mystery had always had an interest in manipulation. This can be seen when he was talking about how he got into magic for the first place, and he quotes, "This is how it all started. I read a book called 501 Magic Tricks. What was amazing was it wasn't 4, 5, or 6 different ways of screwing with someone's head and showing the holes in their perception, but it was 501 different ways." So in 2001, Mystery met a man by the name of Chris Odom, otherwise known as Lovedrop. Chris is a big Italian, sweaty beast of a man who had various skills in the IT field. He quickly befriended Mystery and supported some of his early projects. I believe it was mainly something called Mystery's Lounge private forums. And there was a couple of those forums too. So in these communities they would have various little forum groups, and usually there would be a Mystery Lounge in each of these forums. And so he's starting to get pretty big from all this. The pickup community really knew him back around 2004, 2003. And really the original lounge that Chris made is still up today, but it's just called The Lounge. There's no more mystery to it, I'm afraid. Sometime in 2004, Mystery met another man named Nick Savoy, and they founded the Mystery Method Corporation, which was formed to market the whole pickup thing. They even did coaching online and etc. So we're going to go through some of the names of the pickup artists in the community back then. We got Braddock, Cajun, The Hunter, Dax, Fader, Future, Hawaii, Jeremy Soul, Lovedrop, Masters, Matador, Moxty, 10 Magnet. It's my favorite one. It doesn't even make any sense. Or maybe it's like a 10 magnet? Whatever.
This Sunday, come on down, see your favorite racers. Braddock takes on Cajun, while the Hunter throws Dax out of the way. Fader's got something for Future. Hawaii has a bone to pick with Jeremy Soul. Lovedrop drops an epic promo.
Not again.
Masters is on deck. You can't mess with the prestige and the world champion 10 Magnet.
Now that we got the stage set, let's have a little dive in here. So with all the fame and acknowledgement coming to Mystery's way, he decided he was going to profit off it. But Mystery isn't a smart man, at least in terms of anything outside the realms of manipulation, so he's going to need Lovedrop to help him write it and promote it. They then released the Venusman Arts Handbook in 2005. They also released The Mystery Method, How to Get Beautiful Women into Bed. The first was an ebook, but the second was actually published, believe it or not. So, sometime before the second quarter of 2007, Mystery was offered his own television show by VH1 titled The Pickup Artist. As part of promotion for his show, Mystery would show up on various news networks and morning shows. Around this time, Lovedrop was also working on the hardcover release of The Mystery Method, How to Get Beautiful Women into Bed, as well as traveling with Mystery to these various promotions. So this is when people were starting to learn what Mystery was actually teaching. He says what interviewed people probably need to hear, like get out of your house, try and talk to women on a daily basis. He actually has some okay confidence building advice. The problem is everything in between and after. A lot of nonsense that's more likely to make someone want to shut themselves in forever, rather than to explain that all out. Let's just have a look here.
So this swaying thing is not body rocking. I don't really have a name for it yet, other than to say cool, right? Because you can move away from her, move towards her, and it's all subcommunication that takes place while you're dynamically interacting with an entire group of people around you. It's just absolutely lovely, and the people respond to all this subcommunication. That's why it's so important. Thank you. And the touch. But that's not body rocking. Body rocking is a concept whereby you're in the set and you make believe like you're about to take off. I'm now rocking out of the set, right? Oh, one more thing before I get out of here, and that's a verbal false time constraint. And you can now come in, and what you do is you conserve and preserve their comfort levels.
So, Mystery went on Conan and Brian and called himself a late bloomer, stating that he didn't hit puberty until he was 21, meaning that this man could literally drink before his balls dropped, as the drinking age in Canada is 19. Mystery also acted condescending and even a little childish during his appearance, which made Conan rip his asshole making fun of his terminology and his appearance. So, there's a few things at work here. Foremost obvious being the objectification and manipulation of women. Also, a manipulation of weaker-minded males, possibly those who are socially inept. A lot of this is playing off natural urges of men, to sell a formula for confidence. That's very clear though, so instead of being what is planned, it's more of a shit show from the outside looking in. So, 2008 rolls around. A few different things happen. First, remember that company that Mystery didn't involve Lovedrop on? That company turns out it was solely owned by Nick Savoy. Not only that, but Nick and Mystery had been having legal disputes since 2006. Also, Mystery had a second company on the side, one titled Venison Arts, titled after the book that him and the ideals of his homie Lovedrop thought of back in 2004. Venison Arts had 3 co-founders, Mystery, Lovedrop, and another one of Mystery's original wingmen named Matador. And a funny little thing about Matador is apparently this is a wig. He's always wearing this wig here. Lovedrop also releases a book in 2008 of his own, and his book is titled Revelation. It isn't a confession of Christianity or anything, it's more or less a practical emphasis on vibe, delivery, humor, and micro-calibration. At least that's what he says. And by how it's kind of worded, you can tell that they're becoming more of a, they're becoming more self-aware. They're starting to realize that, hey, maybe what we're doing is something in the realms of manipulation. Maybe we should word it differently. And so that's kind of what they're trying to do there. And just to get a little bit more into the mind of Lovedrop, here's a quote I found about him.
As admitted by himself, Lovedrop used to be overweight. His looks are below average. However, with constant exercise and style development, he has developed a somewhat attractive avatar.
I find this pretty sad, to be honest. I think with proper friends, this guy could probably get some genuine confidence instead of having to live through an avatar. It's also got to be stressful to even start worrying about things like that. Perhaps he had potential to be a comedian with the correct guidance. As it says, tragedy is often comedy. And here's just a funny little source I found. It's PUAlingo.com. And it's just funny that they have to have their own encyclopedia to keep track of all their own fucking bullshit. Isn't that great? And one last thing I want to pull out before we get to the final half of this whole story here, and that's the comparison of imagery between the advertising and its actual community. Please enjoy this little montage of, just the greatest individuals you've ever seen. Now, 2008 was a very busy time. Let me tell you about it. Enter Project Hollywood. Mystery and Neil Strauss joined forces to create some sort of beta male boot camp right off the boulevard. The Hollywood house seemed to be some sort of cash grab similar to the CX house. It was marketed as a house where 8 professional pickup artists hung out and you could hang out with them for 5 hours if you paid them enough money. There's this picture of like 30 middle-aged virgins sitting cross-legged on the floor, and I love it. It's a great picture. This might be the early foundations to the brony community. Alright, bye Mr. Rony Guy. So, late 2008 he had a child, and he was way less active in his seduction community. He still works in what he calls boot camp style group to this day, charging anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200 for a 3-part online course.
Mysteries Live Online consists of 3 separate online conference sessions, held 1 week apart every Saturday. Each training takes 2 to 3 hours. The event isn't too formal, and you will get your own chance to ask your own questions.
Well, I'm happy that for $1,000, I can ask the living God some questions so I can get my fucking dick wet. Also, he has a whole section about copyright, but in he states, you are not allowed to formally teach any of Mystery's material, in brackets, the M3 model, without legal agreement. I almost didn't catch it when I first read it, but then that in brackets, M3 model, meaning that the only part of original content that's actually his is in Module 3. The rest, if you look at it, is just overview and building exercise. Hell, look at this. Module 1 is a motivational speech, and then an overview of Module 3. But then Module 2 looks like self-building and then asking questions to Mystery. A good question is, why the fuck would I pay $1,200 to listen to 3 hours of original content? And that original content is coming from a retard with painted black fingernails and a fucking jester hat. All in all, the man did make a buck. And usually anyone I've researched for long enough, I tend to find redeeming qualities in. I believe Mystery probably does believe in the nonsense he's teaching. After all, the man did say he hit puberty at 21. As the tale of legacy burns on, you would think our tale is done there. And if so, you must have forgot about the mystic beast himself, Lovedrop. But real quick, if you enjoy this PUA stuff, then I suggest you check out the homie Larson Halleck. He reviews a bunch of these pickup douches and others who fall into similar categories as them. Oh, wow. Who knew we'd be here, Internet? Mystery's off in the distance, and now it's time to pull in and see what Lovedrop has been doing since 2008. And man, he's been busy. He's been a busy dude. So, as Mystery started to further himself in the pickup game, this left room for someone else to take his spot. Both Lovedrop and Matador tried to succeed in these roles, but neither of them could fit the hole that Mystery had left behind. Here's a clip of Lovedrop getting advice for making over your apartment. Some classic stuff in here. Pay attention.
Alright, Lovedrop here in Dave's kitchen. We've been seriously revamping Dave's place, but we have not done the kitchen. It's actually a pretty good kitchen. You got your spices and your knife set and all your stuff. It's a little messy, and basically all that really needs to be done in here is that the kitchen needs to be just cleaned and take all the clutter out, and it'll be fine. But I wanted to leave the kitchen in this state just to draw a contrast between what's happened here and the rest of the apartment. So, as we walk into the living room, we've got the change in atmosphere. Obviously we had to buy some furniture for Dave because he literally didn't have a lot of furniture that most people already have. He didn't have a dining room set. We didn't have the sofas and the end tables and everything. So we went out and bought the basic furniture that I would expect any bachelor to have. And then from there we started our transformative process in terms of building the vibe in here with light and music and so on and so forth. So as you can see, one of the things we've done here is put a painting on the wall with a spotlight on it. And the idea is that, you know, a lot of people, they actually just have a light in their face. You know, you have a light in your face, and that's your lighting for your house. Just lights, and then they shine right in your face. And what I like to do is I like to point the light at something beautiful, and then that becomes a source of light for the room.
Lovedrop continued with the pickup thing, until about early 2013. It was around this time that he opened an AMA on Reddit.
Hi, I'm a PUA. Ask me anything.
And I got some stuff from that AMA here, so we're going to have a little look. So as you can see through the AMA, that Mystery and our boy Lovedrop seem to have some sort of falling out. Lovedrop claims that Mystery was lazy and hell to work with, although he was fun to party with. He also states a couple other interesting things. For instance, he says him and his girlfriend were probably upset and having a fight because of all the hot young girls he bones. Kinda sound like our boy Lovedrop wants to take the cake for himself, doesn't it? Sometime in 2013, Lovedrop was noticed by a Reddit user at a Bitcoin panel. Later that year, this interview was found on YouTube, where Lovedrop was now going by his government, Chris Odom. In the video from back in 2012, you can see black rings around his eyes, his hair is messy and astray, and his forehead is all glossy and sweaty. Chris also looks as though he's gained weight. Knowing from his mindset on his image, I'd guess that he was in a depressed state at this time. It turns out that since 2011, Chris, or what we used to know as Lovedrop, had been working on a project named Open Transactions, or OT for short. Sometime in 2012, Chris met with a man, Johan Gievers. Johan is now better known for the fucking of Tezos back in early 2018. But at this time, he was just being referred to as a revolutionary and was given various conferences on cryptocurrency. Chris and Johan together started the company Monetas. And we got a little quote here from Chris. He says,
When I co-founded Monetas in 2012 with Johan Gievers, our vision for the company was of a mobile money app and a commercial notary software inspired with open transactions, and with an emphasis on Africa.
So Chris spent years promoting open transactions, more so than he never actually finished or released the software. Monetas also never released anything other than plans. One thing that did, however, happen was in 2014, Chris and Johan moved their assets to Switzerland, where people who supported OT began to wonder what was happening with all the money they were throwing into OT. You know what Switzerland is good for, right? Late 2015, Chris stepped down from his position at Monetas, but still stays as a shareholder as he was a co-founder. In 2017, Monetas was found to have a 5-story of commercial space, which was mostly vacant and empty. If you haven't, I suggest you check out the whole Tezos and Gievers thing, which took place late 2017, early 2018, and is actually still going on today. After stepping down from Monetas, Chris went on to found Stash Crypto, which in their words is
developer of an online financial platform designed to assist in cryptocurrency transactions.
Sounds like an open transaction all over again. Round 2 of the scam. Except this software will apparently be, and quoted,
fully integrated with open transactions and Stash OS.
So not only is this thing open transactions, which by the way was never created, it apparently will also have its own OS. Sadly, this is where our story seems to end. With Chris still part of Stash, his Twitter's gotten more political and less about crypto and blockchains. I was perhaps thinking Lovedrop is off to find his next passion in life. Politics. President Lovedrop, God bless the USA. I'm joking. I'm kidding. But having a look back, the Pickup Artist community is one of comedy and tragedy. It reminds me of those people who study numbers and try to find a pattern which they can follow for success. I'm sure some techniques could help you be noticed, but when the intention behind them is revealed, then all the other party is just left feeling taken advantage of. All that's really needed is some self-confidence, and that's the tragedy here. The comedy is what people are willing to put themselves through to be accepted, or even get laid. I often tell people that life is weird, and when you try to pin it down and figure it out, the world will keep spinning around you. No matter what you're trying to figure out, if it works in one spot, it'll most likely ruin what else you got figured out. So try to follow your morals, my golden boys. Keep those masks held up.
Woo! Gold mask. Gold mask.
Gold mask.
Gold mask.
Psst. Hey. So, that Neil Strauss guy? He made a book called The Game. And that book is being made into a movie where it's rumored that James Franco will play a mystery. Shh. Gold mask for Lovedrop.
Woo! Gold mask. Gold mask.
Gold mask.
Gold mask.